Hey class, welcome to A Broad Sex Education, where we discuss everything you wish you learned in school. I'm your host and historian that holds men accountable, Sin, and my student for this lesson is Asa.
I am a man.
Oh my god.
Hello. Hi.
This is part 2 of Lesson 8, Behind Closed Doors, Inappropriate Scandals That Shaped American Politics. This is just a heads up. The current event segment was pulled from this lesson because I would like to do that lesson more justice and keep it separate. So this will just be a history lesson for now. Before we get into the history lesson, let's start with the consent notice. This podcast is a sex education resource intended for an adult audience. We'll be having real, inclusive conversations about sexuality, pleasure, relationships, gender, identity, and more. Some topics may be considered explicit, especially in today's episode, where we'll be discussing sexual assault, workplace sexual harassment, coercion, extramarital affairs, abuse of power, revenge-driven political framing, and unequal power dynamics. Our goal is to break the stigma and provide the kind of sex education many of us never got. We're learning too, and we're bringing what we learned straight to the classroom, so we can all grow together. You deserve to know what this is about, so you can make an informed choice to listen. Or not. That's what consent looks like, even here. Next.
Yeah.
Gaslighter in chief.
Yeah, here we go.
Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. Do you know the story between Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton?
Yeah, this is one of the more familiar ones, I would say. But I remember the dress was like the big thing.
Yeah.
The blue dress.
It started with this woman, Paula Jones. During a work event, he starts exposing himself to her. He is just sexually harassing her. She didn't want it. Like, that's her boss. So she refuses.
Mm-hmm.
She kept quiet, but told some of her friends, because obviously girls are going to gossip. They're going to tell each other.
Right.
Paula Jones sues Clinton in 1994 in civil court. She claims she faced professional retaliation, so that he was like not giving her opportunities and he was just not nice to her. He like treated her differently. The Clinton legal team was basically like, he's the president, he can't be sued. But that's dumb because he is chosen by the people.
He was president at
Yeah, but when he arrested Paula Jones,
1995.
he wasn't the president.
I see.
Meanwhile, in 1995, Monica Lewinsky is working in the White House as an intern and she meets Bill Clinton. They start having their secret affair. She's staying in the Oval Office super late and obviously like she's like having phone calls, they're exchanging gifts. He is the one who should know better in this situation. People in the White House start hearing about this like secret relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 1996, Lewinsky was transferred from the White House to the Pentagon, and then she meets this woman. Her name is Linda Tripp. So Monica Lewinsky thinks she found a friend at work, and so she starts telling her the tea. Linda Tripp is a scorned employee. She'd been moved from the West Wing to the Pentagon. She worked under the Republican president, and then she got moved to the Pentagon afterwards. So
Linda Tripp did.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So so the assumption there is like, oh, well, she had evidence then that she could potentially, use against
She had anger towards the administration at the time.
Motive.
Yeah.
I see.
Monica confides in her that she's been having a thing with Clinton. Tripp was like, oh my god, this is going to be the thing that takes him down.
Right.
Linda believed that the Paula Jones case could ruin Bill Clinton's career. So she was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this happen. And so that's what she did. Lucianne Goldberg, a conservative literary agent and Clinton critic, told Tripp, get it on tape. Linda Tripp illegally recorded their conversations, and in some of their conversations, Monica Lewinsky talks about giving him oral in the Oval Office, and then another conversation is her talking about how she has this blue dress. Obviously, Monica is thinking that this is her friend, like just someone that she can confide in, that she is helping her out, because she also told her, like, be careful and keep the dress, because if it goes down, like he has an affair, you should have something to defend yourself. She's not wrong, but Linda Tripp had her own intentions.
Right.
After this Paula Jones case went to federal court, it went to another higher level of court. And so this one said the case does not have to be delayed because the president can be sued for the private actions taken before office. The Clinton team was like, no, that's not fair. Let's appeal. So this goes all the way up to the Supreme Court into 1997. That's when Monica Lewinsky came in. At some point, Linda Tripp convinces Monica Lewinsky to keep her blue dress that she wore that has his semen on it because it could give Monica evidence if she were ever accused of having an affair. And like it could save her. At some point later on, Monica was like, I really want to wear this dress to a family gathering. And you know how we know that Linda Tripp wasn't a girl's girl? Because she was like, no, you shouldn't wear that dress. That makes you look fat. Don't get it cleaned. And so she never cleaned it. Anyway, Clinton, during the sworn deposition of the Paula Jones case, under oath, he denies that he had a relationship with Monica Lewinsky. But then news outlets continued to publish the connection between the two of them. Linda Tripp exchanges the tapes for immunity from wiretapping. She gives them to the independent counsel, and they use them. They use it all as evidence. It was obtained illegally, but it was not obtained illegally by the government. That's how they justified that. Monica Lewinsky hands over the dress for immunity. In August of 1998, the FBI forensic lab test confirmed that the semen on the blue dress was Bill Clinton's. Then, in December of 1998, he gets impeached by the House on perjury and obstruction of justice, but he's acquitted by the Senate in February of 1999 and remains in office. These grown-ass adults did it for their political benefit, toyed with her lives. And that's fucked up. That's the most boomer thing ever. Like, he is the person who deserved to be canceled that was never canceled.
Right. You think that that's the, like, end-all be-all. Oh, great. We you know, you have DNA evidence that this guy lied in front of the freaking oath. And then, like, in this case, I guess 2 months later, they just hand wave it and he's back in. It doesn't even, nothing matters.
They never reconcile. Linda Tripp's dead, though. She died in 2020.
Right. The secretly recording, too, is just crazy. Like, I hadn't known that part was missing, but, like, the fact that Linda Tripp recorded the phone calls.
It's like, you can't be like, oh, I was trying to protect you. It's like, you literally just did this for you.
Yeah.
You didn't do it with me in mind. You did it for you.
Spinning it to sell it as, oh, I was doing it to protect Monica Lewinsky is completely...
It's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse.
It's definitely worse.
Anyway, so that's that story.
Just a lot of negative actions there. It's tough, too, because I feel like the repeating theme already in the ones we've looked at is I'm a young woman and I'm, like, just trying to get ahead in my career. I'm an intern, right? Or I'm, you know, professor or a lawyer aide or whatever. And here's some guy that's in a position of power that has the ability to manipulate that relationship. It's very tricky.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready for the next piece of shit?
Yeah.
All right. You know this one.
Yeah.
When
Great.
a grown man threw a fit on live television. So this is Christine Blasey Ford and Brett Kavanaugh. I actually didn't put too many notes about this because I lived this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being at work, actively watching what was going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those people who don't know, Brett Kavanaugh was nominated to the Supreme Court by Donald Trump in 2018. Ford sent a confidential letter to her congresswoman and to Senator Dianne Feinstein because she didn't want a public spectacle. But the letter was leaked to the media, which forced her into the spotlight. So that's why she ended up testifying.
Mm-hmm.
During her testimony, she was really calm. I remember watching it. I could tell that she was really scared.
There's two very different reactions to that.
Yeah. She was scared. You could tell she was scared, but she was calm.
Petrified.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
She was precise, consistent, very credible, and very respectful. She's also a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
During her testimony, she alleged that when she was 15 and Brett Kavanaugh was 17, he pushed her onto a bed at a high school party, groped her and tried to remove her clothes, covered her mouth when she screamed, laughed with his friend Mark Judge during the assault and left her terrified that she might be killed by accident. She told trusted people about the incident before Kavanaugh was even nominated. She told her husband, her therapist, friends that she confided in. So her account was very consistent and documented.
Yeah.
When Brett Kavanaugh testified, he was a little bitch. And if you're seeing the PowerPoint, I just posted all the times where he was being a little bitch.
All the little meme snapshots.
Yeah. Where he was angry, furious, defensive, shouting, attacking the process. He was being a very entitled, mediocre white man. And he also just kept talking about how much he's like, I like beer. I still like beer. Like, you're not helping your case.
Mm-hmm. He didn't need the help, though.
After this testimony, the White House had ordered a very limited and extremely rushed FBI investigation, which lasted less than 1 week. It interviewed none of the key witnesses and excluded both Ford and Kavanaugh. It ignored multiple peoples willing to testify under oath and produced a very bare bones report and was widely criticized as being incomplete. So it was seen as a political rush job and not the search for the truth. But he got confirmed. And now he's also a Supreme Court justice.
I think the crazy thing about this to me was the fact that she had all the evidence, right, of, like you mentioned, like her therapy stuff, right? And like those are private, confidential interactions that you had with a therapist, right? And like conversations with friends or whatever. But the fact that you had to put all of that information out there, and then I remember at the time they were just like, oh, well, boys are going to be boys, right? That was the whole bullshit. It was like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It was like when they were teenagers and like all that. And don't get me wrong, like boys are idiots when they're kids. Like I was an idiot when I was a kid, right? But like the fact that, you know, all of these years of trauma, this woman who is, regardless of whether or not she is like a reputable, like calm psychologist or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? That's so much trauma that somebody was bearing their entire life, and they had the receipts, they brought it all out, and then they just like were like, ah, well, you know, it doesn't really matter. Did like this guy's, he's a upstart, you know, gentleman now. He's great for the Supreme Court. Like the fuck? Like, are you serious? That was what was so frustrating, at least from my perspective on that. Was like it literally didn't seem to matter at all what any of the stuff that she brought up was, because they could just hand wave it again. It was incredibly frustrating when he got confirmed. But now we got him, you know?
Yeah. So I remember watching this, like I said. I watched it and I remember I came home. I was living with my ex at the time. And I came home and I was talking to him about it and I just started crying, like sobbing, because as a survivor of childhood sexual assault, like I could obviously see how painful that was for her to have to publicly say this and then get attacked by all of these politicians, you know? But then it was frustrating because I was crying because this was like one of the reasons why I did not say anything for 8 years. It is a clear example of how society has shown why women don't speak up, because you attack them and don't believe them. Like, why? As much as we want to be like, well, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you say anything? Even with Anita Hill, like, why didn't you say anything when they're like attacking her? It's like, because of this bullshit. This is why I don't say shit, because you're not going to take it seriously and you're not going to believe me anyway. Why would I say anything about what's happening to me if you're not going to believe me?
Right.
And that's why I was so distraught and like sobbing, because it was just like, I know what it felt like to live in this fear of feeling scared. I couldn't even imagine being up to that level of spectacle for it. But to like...
Which again, another case where she did not want that.
Yeah.
She wanted to give her testimony in a confidential letter.
Yeah. And so just to like... Yeah. Feeling so disappointed with how afterwards it didn't feel like anyone cared, you know? Like, we're just gonna allow this guy to become a Supreme Court justice because boys will be boys.
Yeah. The problematic thing for me still is like it doesn't change the fact that you have these guys like Clarence Thomas and Brett Kavanaugh that still are in the positions, you know? Like it genuinely is. This is why I'm not a huge fan of lawyers, right? It's because like it comes down to like, oh well, the law was written this way and that's how, and there's no flexibility there for changing the rule. And if the rule says, oh, well, you were at like under the age of 18 if you were a dumbass, like it doesn't indicate any degree of what your character is as an adult, which is bullshit, right? Because of course it's related, right? Even irregardless of just the trauma that it put on this woman, right? You should be able to put that as a fucking black mark on this person that you should not be using to determine fucking Supreme Court decisions, right? Like it is so uncomfortable to see that just devoid. I don't know. This is a very political reaction, right? Or emotional reaction, I guess, but it's very frustrating.
This is also one of the reasons why I am very vocal about it. I remember first telling people in my life what happened to me. I noticed how many more people later on would tell me their stories. I would rather be vocal and open about what happened to me so that people are aware that that kind of thing exists.
Yeah.
We can't keep acting like this doesn't happen to people, to children, to adults. And I'm not saying it only happens to women, you know? But this whole situation, yeah, it's ass. And I cried. It was very, really bad.
Yeah. I think the thing that was sucky about this one too is as soon as the press got a hold of it, it was like, oh, like this will ruin this dude. Like it has to, right? And then it didn't do shit. And it was like, I don't know, that was what was so crushing, right? And it's like, and that it's just an indication of like how common that is of a situation where somebody is brave enough to feel like they can speak up because they should speak up, and then the support systems aren't there and they just get stonewalled, you know? It's like how does that serve as an example for people who are in those situations? Here's evidence of this woman going to therapy for years. Like, how do you not trust the doctor or the therapist who, like, it's really frustrating. So, yeah, absolutely.
And in 2012, Ford mentions the assault in therapy. This is 2012. This is before he's even nominated.
Right, yeah.
6 years before.
Yeah. That's why there's a value in doing a podcast to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons of obviously why I'm doing this lesson is because it's interesting to see how okay we've just gotten with it. Because it's like, yeah, as you can see from the previous scandals we talked about, like women have just not been treated well historically and have always been the people that get blamed for these kind of things. And I think with like Anita Hill and Christine Blasey Ford, they received death threats and things like that, but it was also like super empowering for women. Kavanaugh was confirmed 50 to 48. 2 people did not vote. So yeah, we have 2 pieces of shit on the Supreme Court. Next, we're going to go to political science. The reason why scandals are super influential are because they trigger really strong emotions in people. So people get angry, they feel betrayed, they're disgusted, sympathetic. And emotions drives voting decisions more than policy knowledge does. How it makes them feel. That's why Trump's base is so solid, because he makes them feel a certain way. That's why they're very emboldened to vote.
There's certain phrases that really get people riled up, and you can capitalize on that outrage and emotion. And if you are adept at being a performer, then you know how to do those kind of string pulling.
Yeah. And media rewards scandal because it's really marketable. It's like clickbait. Outrage mobilizes people to be politically active or to critique what's happening in politics. Scandals can demoralize supporters of the accused.
Yeah, this is how you like weaponize it, right? Like you see that in the Grover Cleveland stuff, right? Of, oh, there's a problem with this politician, whether rightly or unrightly. So there's a problem with this politician, and the political party jumps at that to be like, look at this, like this is going to be our chant, right?
Yeah.
Like, of course, that's a natural reaction that people feel emboldened by that.
Mm-hmm. Scandal fatigue polarizes people to defend their side no matter what. Which is why a lot of people who are like, well, we don't know yet until we release the files.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's already documentation out there.
Right.
Ultimately, we vote with our emotions, and that's why scandals are important.
I think that hits home. Even when I look at my own reaction to some of these slides, I have had an emotional reaction to some of them, right? And I think that's very indicative, right? Because that is why the media thrives off of these kinds of things, because people have visceral reactions to them in the moment. And the media doesn't necessarily care what you do with that information, but they care that you stay engaged, right? And so if you can present a compelling story or a narrative of, look at this emotional situation that's happening, and look how good or bad this person is, you will be engaged in the media, and you see that for like seeing the reactions that happened even after taking the pictures of monkey business, right? Like you can see how quickly that stuff can get swept up by the media. I think about social media now and like how widespread scandals and things like that can be distributed, and because everybody has a reaction video, everybody has a take that they want to share on a particular topic. And you said earlier about like, oh, like it's so frustrating that you can have all these events and then nothing actually changes. Like, what the heck? How did we have all this information and then nothing happened, right? But the problem is that the people who are in the position to make the changes, the actual political people, are the people who tend to be already embedded in those systems, and they have, for whatever reason, their political integrity to maintain as an individual, and so they prioritize that over maybe siding with people and voting in a particular way. So it's very easy to be cynical about it.
Yeah.
At least from my perspective. But
I wanted to do this lesson because I'm a big proponent of, like, if you don't know history, you don't know yourself. I love that quote. That's like, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And it's like, we've repeated a lot of stuff over and over and over again. And even like going through all of these scandals, it's sad that the only growth that we made was,
the biggest change was we publicized it.
yeah,
The biggest change is we went from Thomas Jefferson being
hush
completely
hush.
silent about it,
Yeah.
all the way to the point of having broad scale, massive media coverage of something, to the point that I think the media drives it, right? Like it absolutely contributes to the ways in which people talk about this kind of stuff, but the actual interactions between the people probably have not changed all that much. Men are still in the position of power, women are still not, and that isn't just in that relationship or in that moment. It affects 10 years down the line when the woman decides to say something and just gets completely ignored and belittled and death threats and everything else, right? It's really unpleasant. But that's the whole point about discussing it, is that then if somebody hadn't thought about it or hadn't considered it, then it's an opportunity to reflect a little bit. So I'm happy that we're talking about it. I'm happy that you are putting the information together. I think it's interesting. Like, it genuinely is interesting to look at it as like, here's things that happened, right? And yes, I know that even in the moment of me watching these slides, I'm having a very visceral reaction and emotional reaction to it. But I think if you take a step back and you think, like, look at all these bullet points, right? This is a pattern that keeps happening. And if you happen to be the person who's listening to this and you think, oh, well, it's those women again getting into situations that they shouldn't be getting into, well, maybe just take a second and think about that. Like, is that really what's happening over and over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. It's hard to see all of that lined up and not think, wow, there's definitely a power imbalance here. There's definitely some issues in how we approach this interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks. Good job. Well done putting together all the slides.
Thanks.
For sure.
I didn't mean to make you depresso espresso.
Ah, well, that's
Because this is my constant state of things that I have to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the point, right? Is to talk about it and
Yeah.
care about it. So.
And I care a lot about it. And I just wish, obviously, women weren't treated so shitty. All right. It's time to close your books, and it's time for the pop quiz. So, like I mentioned before, the pop quiz is Who Said It? These are going to be the people we talked about in the history lesson. I don't give you options, so you just have to guess and remember.
Okay. Ready.
Ready?
Pop quiz me.
Who said it? I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Monica Lewinsky. Just kidding. It's definitely Bill Clinton.
Yeah. It's Bill Clinton. Yeah. So this denial became the basis for accusations of perjury and obstruction of justice, leading to his impeachment.
Temporarily.
He was impeached.
He was impeached.
He was impeached.
Yeah, but then...
It just didn't follow through.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. Okay, next one. Indelible in the hippocampus is the laughter.
I have no idea. I'm going to guess based on the wording. I mean, maybe Jefferson? I have no idea. Actually, no. No. It's gotta be Hamilton. Because this sounds like something he would write.
No.
Okay.
This is Christine Blasey Ford.
I have no idea what that means. Yeah.
So she's saying that the thing I remember most from the experience that's like ingrained in my hippocampus is the laugh that when he was on top of me when he was assaulting
Got
her.
it. Okay. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah. I don't think I know what indelible means, but yeah, I'm guessing it means locked in, like unremovable kind of thing.
And making marks that cannot be removed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
A background in psychology informed her description of the trauma memory storage.
Right.
Okay, next one. This is a high-tech lynching.
Yeah, that was Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. On October 11, 1991, during his Supreme Court confirmation hearing, Clarence Thomas issued a statement accusing the committee of racial persecution. So, next one. It would have been more comfortable to remain silent.
I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess Anita Hill, based on the phrasing.
Yes. Anita Hill said this during her 1991 testimony, explaining her decision to come forward despite the fear of backlash and public scrutiny. It captures the gravity, reluctance, and courage behind her testimony.
Yeah.
I like beer.
Oh, God. Our Supreme Court Justice himself. That is Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah. Kavanaugh repeated this phrase multiple times while answering questions about his drinking behavior in high school and college. The repetition became immediately viral and symbolic of his defensive posture.
God, it's so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's so meme-worthy. Of course it is.
She said it's indelible in the hippocampus. He said,
I don't even know what indelible means. Like, this is the level of... Jesus. Oh.
You ready? Next one?
Ready.
And the last one. Who said it? I was patient zero of losing a personal reputation on a global scale.
I was patient zero of losing a personal reputation on a global scale. I don't actually know this one. Personal reputation. I'm gonna say Yeah, I don't really know. Patient zero implies that it's a more recent reference. Um, I'll say Monica Lewinsky, but I don't really know.
You're right. It was Monica Lewinsky.
Mm.
She actually said this during her 2015 TED Talk, The Price of Shame, where she discussed how the scandal made her one of the first people to be globally cyberbullied.
I've actually watched that. It's a good talk. Like she's a good speaker. And also just like crazy to hear like how much she's taken this weird fucking chapter of her history and turned it into like something for good.
Yeah.
But it's also like she's also been boxed in as that's what she is. Her entire life is you were this 22-year-old intern.
Her household name. That's the household name.
A household, yeah, exactly.
She's known for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Fun.
You did a good job on the quiz, Bubba.
I got almost all of them correct.
Almost.
Definitely some of these are instances that I've like read about or had referenced, but I don't think in any of them to the level of detail that we kind of talked about today. And I think the biggest thing is just like the repetition, right? Of these are things that keep happening. These are things that you can't ignore. And it sucks that you have as many people that you do in positions of power that have somehow managed to completely bypass any repercussions. And you have just as many instances of women who have talked about something and then nobody seems to react to help them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well done getting information together for this one. Heavy stuff, for sure, but a solid discussion.
A good lesson.
A good lesson.
A good lesson to know that this stuff still happens to women. So when women say these things, believe them.
Right.
Believe victims of sexual assault, sexual violence, domestic violence. And I'm not saying they're only women. Believe people who will speak out. Because they are hurting.
Yeah, it takes a lot to be able to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that does not come easy by even on its own. And you might as well treat that with the respect that is deserving of someone who is going through trauma to be able to talk about it and share.
That's it for today's episode.
Thanks for listening. I hope you had a good time. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. This is probably my favorite one that we've done. Just because I love history and I got to learn a shit ton more and that pissed me off, but it was still really fascinating to me because, one, it shows how far we've come and how we have not come far at all.
Definitely a lot of information and definitely a heavier topic, but I'm glad that we talked about it, and I'm glad that you did a lot of research to put everything together in a presentation. It's really well done.
Have any questions about human sexuality? Submit them to our anonymous form linked in the show notes. Your homework? Share this episode with a friend, because the best way to destigmatize sex is to talk about it. And if you're ready for extra credit, grab our free Essential Sex Conversations workbook by signing up for our newsletter. That's it for today's lesson. Class dismissed. Thanks for joining, everyone. Bye.
Bye.